Konnichiwa, everybody. It's Phoenix here. Phoenix Podcast. I told you I'm doing that every time now. So, Chris and I back again. If anyone knows where I got that from, you'd be laughing.
Oh God.
Clearly, hey, Chris is here.
Velveteen Dream.
Dream. Yes. Velvet Bay Dream. God, I'm gonna watch that match again. It was so lovely. Anyway, let's get the rhetoric out of the way because we have a major announcement to get out too.
Sure.
You can send us an email like Ryan Poole did, but we'll get to it in the next episode. I just want to let you know that we got it. At feedback@thephoenixpodcast.com, or you can leave us a voicemail at 678-753-5144. 678-753-5144. Chris, we're not going to talk about this. I still have to throw this jab out there. At the end of the weekend, the Justice League of Doom.
No, we're not talking about that shit.
No. I just want to rub this in everyone's face because I called it. 96 million opening weekend here in the United States. The first Guardians of the Galaxy movie did better than that. All three Marvel movies this year outperformed that movie. And tough titty, DC. Now we're going to move on. We'll have a full review on the next episode along with The Punisher.
Yeah, so you guys stay tuned for that shit because it ain't happening now. Tune out if you're not into men and ladies in Lycra body slamming each other for an hour and a half.
Also, just a side tangent. Remember when I did 41 issues with Batman and Superman, Biv's Dodge?
Was it 41 or was it 14? I think you flipped it.
Oh, 14. I'm so sorry. 14. I
mean, there is 41 things wrong with that piece of shit, but you only did 14.
I have a comparable list. I have a new list of things that are wrong with that movie, but we'll save that for next week.
Could I get the number ahead of time?
We'll talk offline about it. Because guess what? Justice League?
Off mic.
You just made the list. Okay.
Jesus,
I had to do that.
Titty fucking Christ. It's a good segue for
it is
Wrestle Talk.
It is. This past weekend was WWE's Survivor Series weekend down there in the Houston, Texas, where the Beyonce Knowles is from. And shut your mouth. And Saturday night was NXT TakeOver War Games. Yeah. We don't have to go through a match by match scenario. I just, unless you remember all the matches, only 2 of them, 3 actually.
I remember all the matches, but they're not like, I want to say point by point, some of the best stuff I've ever seen. Collectively, it was a great pay-per-view. That War Games was. That was a really good takeover. I mean, I haven't really seen a bad takeover. Some of them just aren't as good as, their predecessors or however you want to call it. Because I think the original NXT Brooklyn takeover was the best one. I'm not just saying that because I was fucking there. But yeah, I just think that night was fucking magic. Even the pre-show was amazing. So I can't really speak for everyone else because it's different when you're in-house for a thing than it is watching it at home. Trust me, it's very different. You don't get any of the fucking color commentary, so you just got to deal with that shit. Depending on what kind of seats you got is how your experience will be. Also depending on who you're sitting with. Also depending on who's in your area. Also depending on what kind of, prices the stadium that you're watching this thing in have as far as the concession stand is concerned. Because I'm not going to tell you how much I paid for a fucking beer at the Barclays Center, but
I don't even want to know.
I'm embarrassed to say it. That's why I'm not fucking telling it. So
is it more than the con beer?
Yes.
Oh, well, never mind.
It's way more than the fucking con beer. It was like buying a goddamn shot of whiskey in Tribeca. There's no telling what the fucking prices are going to be for the next one, but it doesn't matter because I'm not going. Anyway, the the what was the first match again? I
I
don't
don't
recall.
know. I only paid attention to three matches.
Why do I not recall the? Oh, yeah, it was what's this guy's name?
Oh, the
Uh,
two big people,
yeah,
Cassius
it was Cassius
Ono,
Ono and who's gonna watch it?
Solomon Grundy.
Yeah, the guy who they're fucking billing as a monster right now. They're booking him as a monster,
Hold on, I'll pull up the
and
card. Go ahead.
he's got. I mean, as far he's talked. I want to say maybe twice. He's got a good look as far as being a monster is concerned, but he ain't got no gimmick. Do you know what I mean? When
Hmm.
Rusev came in, he had a gimmick. Kane obviously, Braun definitely. You know what I mean? Most monsters really need gimmicks.
Yeah, he
Even
had a
if you're not a
Hoover.
monster and you're just a big guy, you need a gimmick. I.e. Roman Reigns, people like that. You need something that's gonna, Brock Lesnar has a gimmick. He don't say shit, and Paul Heyman just speaks for him. Because when Brock Lesnar was just like himself before Paul Heyman started speaking for him, it was just some fucking schmuck. It was
Yeah, he
just Brock
doesn't.
Lesnar.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? But it was a good match. It was basically what we call uh, in the wrestling community a hoss match. It was a hoss fight. Just two big some bitches looking like they're hitting each other with shoot punches and what have you, shoot elbows and shoot kicks.
Lars Sullivan is his
Lars
name.
Sullivan, yeah, I couldn't remember that shit to save my goddamn dick. But
Okay.
that's a good
Wunderbar.
that's a good booked monster for NXT. I don't know how that's gonna work as far as like a main roster call up and shit like that. But he's got time. They all got time.
Um,
Cassius Ono, as a lot of people may know, was Chris Hero back in the Indies, one of CM Punk's BFFs, and he's incredible. He's an incredible athlete at his size, whether you think he's out of shape or not. It's much like akin to a Kevin Owens type. Like you think because of the way they built, they can't move the way they do, and they do.
mhm.
So yeah, that dude is mega talented, and if they decide to use him right this time, he could be huge. So as far as I'm concerned, he doesn't have a glass ceiling. The next match, I believe,
The Fatal Four
was
Way.
Fatal Four Way came after what you call it, Velveteen
I know, but I
and
want to talk
Alistair
about
Black.
that one later.
You want to talk about that last?
Yeah, because that's Velveteen Bay
All right. We'll
or
get into
Velvet Bay
the
Dream.
Jesus, titty fucking Christ. We'll get into the Fatal Four Way next. Then that was
Okay.
that was very cool. Um, that was actually the first time that I seen a Fatal Four Way in NXT for that title, for the women's title, and I legitimately felt that if either of those women won, the title would have been in good hands as far as like taking it to the next level or being good, being really good, holding it and showing people up and performing well on NXT TV, on takeovers, so on and so forth, and be ready for a call up in a couple of months.
Hmm.
Nikki Cross could have did it. Peyton Royce definitely. She's very good and polished now. I mean, obviously she still has a lot of work to do, but who doesn't? Everybody's always learning. Fucking Kyrie Sane, obviously, because she's amazing, and Ember Moon is is skyrocketed to the top at this point. Like any of those women could have won, and that title would have been in good hands. But it meant a lot for Ember to win it in her home city, in her home state or whatever, and just the ovation she got and the passion that came into her winning and everything that she put in to winning that because she went up against Oscar twice and she couldn't do a fatal four way the last time they did one because she was shelved because of injuries. So I think everybody performed really well. Nikki Cross came through with her crazy brutal style. She's like a thicker Becky Lynch the way she wrestles, but she's like a bruiser type.
Hmm.
Peyton Royce is amazing with just the fluidity of her movement and her long legs and the way she puts people in various submission moves. That's great. Kyrie's a little firecracker. So, and she's already a huge fan favorite after winning the Mae Young Classic. So, people are in love with her. And Ember Moon is like, I want to say she's a little bit of everything. You know what I mean? She's like one of those female John Cena's. She's got it all. She's got a good look. She's got speed. She's got power. She's got technique.
And she can go.
She can go. She's got aerial moves. She doesn't burn out quick. You know what I mean? She's got it all.
I think the fact that she won, she deserved it. I mean, that's just hands down. I think she's the best worker in that division in NXT. And then having Asuka give her the belt was like a passing of the torch. And I think that was
definitely
something...
Yeah, that meant a lot. And it was a really good look.
So I think that was a great match.
I honestly thought Peyton was going to win it that night. I thought it was.
She didn't.
I really thought it was going to be her.
I think you can send Peyton up without having the belt. I think she could probably get ready for SmackDown. Just my personal opinion. I don't see her on Raw.
Her and Billie Kay. No, yeah, her and Billie Kay are definitely primed for SmackDown. If you send them there together and just have them run through that fucking roster.
I mean, realistically, I don't see
bitches.
Neither one of them, they would have to get the belt off of Flair though, because neither one of them in a wrestling ring can go with Charlotte.
Oh no. I think the only one out of the two of them would be Peyton, and she could surprise you because she's improved dramatically in a very short time, and I think that that's a testament to the developmental system in NXT because she's from the Indies as well. But since coming into NXT, like her whole fucking shit has changed. Like she's become a superstar, like what they would call a WWE superstar. So she's prime and ready. So she can go to SmackDown and hang with, she can hang with a Becky. She can hang with with Naomi, especially Naomi because they both extremely athletic in that regard. Do you know what I mean? She can run circles around a Carmella, and Carmella's been on the fucking main roster for a while now. So it's just like she can do it.
God, and I have a feeling they're gonna put that belt on her soon. I have a feeling.
Well, because of she's got the fucking briefcase. It's ridiculous that she hasn't cashed in yet. Like, I think we're nearing almost the next Money in the Bank. Like it's getting very close to the next Money in the Bank.
Yeah, I don't know. It is. I mean, I have no idea how to really take that because she doesn't fit. I can see her getting released in about a year. Probably. Like of all the women to get released, and Emma was such a waste of talent. They could have done so much with her.
Yeah.
Dana Brooks doesn't deserve to be there.
Dana Brooks doesn't deserve to be on either brand. If she would have stayed in NXT, she could have probably become something.
But she's going to be a jobber. That's her role.
And I mean, so far, that's all she's ever been.
Yeah, I mean, I think, and for the non-wrestling community out there, jobber is someone that just goes out there and gets your ass handed to you.
Yeah.
I think Carmella's going to fit that role because when you have people like Flair, like Natalya, even though Natalya's got the personality of a wet paper bag, no offense to her, she can go in the ring, but
I mean, I think that comes with being a cat person. I don't want to alienate any of our listeners by making them think that I don't like people who own cats, but guess what? I don't like people who own cats. And Natalya's a big cat owner. She's a huge cat person. And I think people who have cats don't have fucking personalities. Honestly, I don't know why that is. I don't know the exact correlation, but it's true.
Oh, it's damn true. No.
Yeah.
But back to the NXTs. We can talk about Velvet Daydream now.
You don't want to talk about the other two main events?
I mean, we can. You want to talk about those first, and then Velvet Dream? Because
Yeah,
I
I mean,
didn't
because
like the War
that's
Games.
like you didn't like the that was amazing. Are you kidding me?
I didn't. I didn't care for it. Because I'm
First of
looking at.
all,
Okay, let's talk. Let's dive into that. I'm looking at the match as okay. The people in Sanity aren't going to get over on the main roster. It's just. It's not going to happen. They're going to turn into what the Wyatt family did, and we see where they are now. I don't see Adam Cole getting a major push on the main roster. Not with Vince in charge. It's not going to happen. The two Authors of Pain, they could run the tag team division on any brand. But I
this
see
is
them
true.
going to Raw. I see them going to Raw, truth be told, because Raw, they're going to stack Raw. Um, when I looked at that match, I'm like, I don't see any future stars. Adam Cole, huge star in Ring of Honor. Ring of Honor is vastly different than going to Monday Night Raw or SmackDown.
Here's the thing: Adam Cole has the face, he has the talent, and he can talk his ass off. What I think is missing from an Adam Cole to make him to be, I guess, whatever you want to call like the next big WWE superstar on the main roster is a gimmick. But in his case, he doesn't really need a gimmick because he's just like, I mean, I don't know how far you can get with just being an asshole to people on the main roster these days, but it worked for Kevin Owens. But Kevin Owens has always been the type of person that uh he rides a wave for his assholish ways into a situation which is an already existing gimmick, like the thing with that he was doing with John Cena for a while, and then the thing that he was doing with Chris Jericho for a while, and now he's doing it with Sami Zayn. It's always it's always him doing kind of his own thing, but it segues into somebody else's thing, and it just works because Kevin Owens is a great fucking heel, and he's a great personality overall. Not to mention the guy's extra fucking amazing in the ring. There's no disputing that fact. But even on his own, when he first came up, he was able to make that shit work because even like he's one of the only heels that gets fucking cheers instead of boos. Like ever that I've ever fucking had to I don't understand that. I mean, not that I don't understand it because I understand that a good percentage of the wrestling community is full of marks that love him as Kevin Steen and will never let that shit go. So him being an asshole on the main roster as Kevin Owens is never going to change their perspective of him. They're just going to love him for him being who he is. They're not going to take him for, heel value, so to speak, and boo him or any of that kind of shit. Because no matter what he does, even if he attacks a fave, they still cheer for him. If Kevin Owens was to go up against AJ Styles or Shinsuke Nakamura, he'd still get cheered. Whether he wins or loses, he's still gonna get cheered. If he went up against AJ Styles for the belt now, they'd both be getting cheered, and it's still a heel face dynamic with Kevin Owens being the heel, and Kevin Owens would still be getting cheers. He's just that good.
I think that's also WWE's fault in a way because since they've pulled the curtain back and let you see the Wizard of Oz, so to speak, in this metaphor.
Oh yeah, they completely broke the fourth wall.
Yeah, so it kind of
kayfabe is sort of dead now in terms of like what I mean. Like it's not a thing that people like. You can't. They're killing the business. Like that shit's dead. Once they started doing all of these like half baked reality shows with what is it? The drive-in, road-in, fucking ride along, whatever the fuck that shit's called, and the Total Divas, and you see people in relationships, you see how people are outside of the ring, and it's just like, I mean, it works for us as adults because we're already like we're wiser,
right,
and we're already like some of us are fucking marks and smarks and all that kind of shit. So none of that shit phases us. But if a kid was watching WWE programming and they saw like two guys that are supposed to be like enemies, like fucking hanging out and shit, it might shatter their whole psyche about how this fucking thing really plays out. But even in today's world, with kids being as smart as they are, I don't really think it makes a fucking difference.
But if you really look at it, though, Kevin Morgan, Matt Morgan said it best, where now WWE and wrestling as a whole, it is a marked crowd. You know, WWE does this on purpose. Every year, the Royal Rumble is in a mark area.
Yeah. Houston again, it's in Philly, and I'm not going to that.
Right, it's in Philly this year. The beginning of Roman Reigns' demise years ago. I think now it's kind of a point, like Matt Morgan had said, that it's a marked crowd, no matter where you go at this point, and everybody wants to see great matches. Because back in the Attitude Era, you didn't have to have a great match; you had to tell a great story from point A to the match to point B. It had to be a completely good story. Do I still want that kind of storytelling? Absolutely. But when you put people in the ring, I want to see a great match. That's the whole reason you have house shows. So when you get to the pay-per-view, you've already worked out what works, what doesn't work, what might not work, you know, things of that nature. And now it's kind of being 3 hours, and I know they have to hear people complaining about this. Raw being 3 hours, you need to put it back to 2 hours because you don't have a damn clue how to run a show for 3 hours, and you're giving away pay-per-view quality matches. There's no reason The Miz and Roman Reigns went up. Well, we'll get to that later. But The Miz and Roman Reigns main eventing Raw, and there's a huge title change. Intercontinental title change, I mean, that's happened on TV before. But again, pay-per-view quality match you're giving away. But going back to War Games,
because all of that shit I was saying about Kevin Owens was supposed to be leading up to why I think Adam Cole can make it. Because I do think Adam Cole has what it takes to make it. The dude is ridiculously talented, and he's very good on the mic. Like, he could fucking go, like, between him and people like Kevin Owens, like, people like that, they can, when I think that you could go toe-to-toe with somebody like a Chris Jericho, or even speak to Paul Heyman eye to eye in the ring and meet him on that level, or at least, you know, be able to stand your ground there as far as, you know, speaking is concerned, then you're good. Those guys can fucking do it. And they have the ability to combine both the story-driven matches of the Attitude Era and the now trying to put on 5-star matches to make Dave Meltzer come in his pants era, and mesh them together and make that shit happen. People like Adam Cole, people like Kevin Owens, people like AJ Styles, those are people who can make that happen. Those are people who can fucking make that happen. So as far as I'm concerned, Adam Cole is good as far as the main roster is concerned. Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish, not so much. Kyle O'Reilly looks like a murderer. Kyle O'Reilly looks like he has a couple of bodies. He looks like the dude. Have you ever seen like an episode of Law and Order, and then you see one guy and you're like, no, yeah, he did it.
Oh yeah.
Like, and this is before they even do like the opening credits or anything like that. Like, he killed that baby. It was Kylo. He looks like that type of person. He looks like a fucking murderer. Like, he really looks like a homicidal maniac. If they decide to do more movies with the Joker in it, he needs to be the fucking Joker. Put him in a green wig or whatever the fuck and makeup on his face, because that dude is a psychopath. But he's also incredibly good in the ring. Him and Bobby Fish. And they put on a great show with Sanity and the Authors of Pain with Roddy Strong. And I think everybody played their parts well in that War Games match. And I think as far as Sanity even being in any kind of picture to be called up for the main roster, that's no time soon as far as I know. And they're pretty much coming into their own and holding down the tag division in NXT as it were. These guys, though their gimmick looks similar to what the Wyatts have done, it's completely different because they're nuts and they have Nikki Cross in their stable. Like, it's a completely different dynamic. There's no kind of like, you know, we're trying to be creepy sort of, you know, in the dark type people. No, they just come to the ring dressed like fucking like people from Gotham City Sirens. And they're just ready to fucking beat people's asses. Like, they have what do you call it, bandanas and hoodies and ski masks and all types of shit, and they're all dressed like the Brooklyn Brawler. It's really fucked up. I like it. I like Sanity. Like they dress like a combination between Brooklyn Brawler and Sami Zayn, like how Sami Zayn would dress in his personal life. And for me, I think it works. Trust me, I was a latecomer to getting on this Sanity train, but I'm here now, and I dig what they're doing. And Alexander Wolf basically died for our sins Saturday night. He was doing a lot of crazy shit. Him and the other big dude who swallowed the fucking key. Like he locked the fucking cage and swallowed the key. That is monster shit. He was going up against the Authors of Pain solo. That's that's how you build a fucking big guy. That's how you build a monster. A guy that can go toe to toe with huge dudes like that. And that's why I just think like in Triple H's hands, the main roster could do amazing things, and you could actually build young stars and make them be the future of the company. But that's never going to happen with the old man at the button.
Yeah.
But I think as for what it was, that was a really good War Games. It was full of nothing but young talent. For them to come up and do what they did and never having experienced anything like that before, they really put on a hell of a fucking show.
They did. I wasn't. I mean, I don't know. I expected more, but
I think they did really well, especially a lot of the spots with Roderick Strong. Roderick Strong, I honestly believe if he had a legitimate gimmick or personality, he could be huge. But Roderick Strong is just like he's like a Tommy Dreamer. He's like your everyday man. You know what I mean? Like a DDP. But even DDP had a gimmick, and even Tommy Dreamer had a gimmick after a certain point. So it's just like I don't know. Like it's good that he's in WWE in NXT making more money than he did on the Indies, and he doesn't have to do weird traveling things and sleeping in God knows where and all that kind of shit. I mean, not to say that he wasn't making good money on the Indies, but obviously it's nothing compared to what you would make in WWE. And I think it's good for him to have this opportunity and to see what he could make of it because you never know. Because look at what happened with the next match that we're going to talk about, Drew McIntyre and Adrian San Almas. Like both of these dudes, Drew McIntyre left. He got his walking papers from way after fucking 3MB disbanded on the main roster. Left, tore up the fucking indies. I mean, like burned it to the ground. This dude was fucking making towns, racking up titles. He was killing it in the indies. From PWG to Evolve, he was fucking everywhere. Comes back to NXT, wins the title. Big as fuck, polished, brand new fucking gimmick, going with his whole, Irish brogue shit and just hitting it. Again, another big guy that can move like a fucking cruiserweight. I don't know how these dudes do it, but, whatever. Then you got a guy like Adrian San Almas, who from fucking used to wrestle with these guys in New Japan, Los Ingobernables, and just comes over here, gets a second shot, gets a second opportunity at being in WWE in NXT, and fucking he's had an amazing series of matches with Johnny Gargano. He had a great couple of matches with Bobby Roode. He's another dude that has amazing talent, and now with having Zelina Vega in his corner, like having a valet, like his gimmick just went up. It just went up a couple of notches. You know what I'm saying? Because he already had that kind of like, suave Spanish dude kind of thing going on, and like doing that whole thing where he just like lays on the middle rope like he doesn't give a fuck, just tranquilo, all that shit. Now he has fucking Zelina Vega with him, a real Queens bitch too, just jumping on fucking Drew McIntyre doing Hurricane Rana's, scissor kicks, all types of shit. Like she's fucking gully as fuck. Like if you want to talk about a ride or die, Zelina Vega is it. And as far as I'm concerned, she's the key factor to him beating Drew McIntyre and winning that title. Because I didn't think he was gonna win that shit. I thought Drew McIntyre was holding on to that title for a long time. I thought he would at least hold on to it until they built up maybe Adam Cole, or he got like a fucking what you call it, or Roderick Strong got a rematch or something. I did not think that Almas was going to be in the title picture, but once they had Zelina in there, and then they were basically pestering him and doing the fucking backstage segments and attacking him and all that kind of shit, I was like, all right, let's see what happens. And they put on a dope ass fucking match. They really tore it up. And it's not to say that neither of these guys can go, because obviously they both can, but to have the match that they had for the title, like these dudes are prime. Well, we already knew Drew's prime to go back to the main roster. He goes back, the landscape changes immediately.
I think he's getting called up. That's because why drop the title that quick?
Exactly. Whether it's SmackDown or Raw, the landscape changes immediately when Drew McIntyre walks through that fucking locker room. Completely. Completely. And it doesn't matter what title it's for. The landscape changes. It doesn't even matter if it's not for a title. The landscape changes when Drew McIntyre comes to the main roster. But yeah, congrats to fucking Almas for winning that shit. So now I guess we'll see what he does with the title. We'll see if he can carry it, because Finn carried it, Joe carried it well, Nakamura carried it well, Rude did, Drew for the time that he had it. I mean, let's see what Almas can do. I'm pretty sure he's gonna be a great heel with the title, because heel champions are always my favorite champions, and it's always good to have a heel as champion, because you can always still tell that age-old story of the chase, with the face chasing the heel champion for the title and making that shit work. I don't know why people think that doesn't work anymore. Like, you don't need to have, a face as champion the whole time and just like having some sort of ridiculous 200, 300 something, some odd day reign. Like, that's why I think having Jinder Mahal, though his title reign didn't work out as expected, having him as a heel and having, Randy Orton chase him for it, and then AJ Styles in the process, and then getting it told a great story. And this is what I'm saying. You're still able to do stuff like that, even in the new millennium and fucking the 21st century. It's possible. That's not, everything that comes from, Memphis wrestling and the good old boys it's not passe. That shit still works. You just got to know how to do it right.
I completely agree. So the time has come. Aleister Black and Velvet Daydream.
Velveteen Dream. Dream.
I think, and I'm gonna put my bias aside because I think this is a fucking sexy piece of specimen. I dare say this was the match of the weekend. It told, and that includes Monday Night Raw. It told a great story. The two of them, that chemistry in that ring is just undeniably great. The fact like how Aleister Black sits in the middle of the ring, and then Velveteen did the same thing, and then Aleister Black did that little like creepy crawly pose.
The crawl. Yeah, that Velvet does. Yeah.
And
bro,
let's go.
No, it's like stuff like that to me means a lot, because it's like they're invested in the match beyond just putting on great work. They're doing the characters.
Mm-hmm.
And they're playing off each other. Like, whether you like it or not, professional wrestling, sports entertainment, whatever you want to call it, has always been a dance, a soap opera, a drama, a fucking story. It has all the athletic ability and all the, the hard hitting and the ridiculous moves and shit weaved in, but the story, The fucking story. And then when the story is told well, oh, Jesus Christ. There was no title on the line for this thing, and it was the best laid out story ever.
And you know what? I think honestly speaking, I think he's getting a call up. I think Velveteen's because if you look at it, one, he's like 6'6", 6'7", something crazy ridiculous tall.
Yeah,
And
he's got him and Alistair both have crazy reaches. Like as far as like leg and arm extension, it's wild.
not okay, so going off of that, Velveteen has that look that Vince likes as far as body wise. And
Yeah.
anyone, basically, they literally told him, go out there, be Prince, be a bit of Jack Sparrow, be a bit of Shawn Michaels, and make it work. And by God, that guy goes out there and 22 years old, mind you, from Washington, D.C., 22 years old. I did my homework. And with that being said, this guy has a bright future ahead of him. I think he could be a main event. He could be someone that they build a title off of. You know, let him get a good slow crawl. I'd love to see him in the Miz work. My God, I would love to see him in the Miz have a program. I just think he's that good. I think, and it goes back to what Dusty always said, and what all the old school wrestlers always say. You are telling a story from the moment you leave that curtain to the time you come back to the curtain. And I think a lot of the newer guys get lost in that translation. And I think that's where NXT kind of helps you with that, because when you're in that ring, you're telling a story. Bret Hart did it. Shawn Michaels did it. You know, all the greats did it. And that's where they are. Austin, Rock, Triple H. Yeah, that's my 2 cents. I think this was the match of the weekend. I think it told a great story overall. And yeah. I don't know if Chris lagged out of the said call. Yeah, welcome back.
Wow. Technical difficulties, guys.
Yes, I'll have to knock that out the way. But either way, like I was saying, I think this guy in the Miz would make a fucking great program.
Dream in the Miz?
Oh, you goddamn Skippy.
Bro, it's like you're fucking reading my mind. Because the moment he came through with that character, the first thing I thought about is a program with him and the Miz would light the fucking ring on fire. As far as like, before you even get to the match, just straight off promos alone, just having them talk shit to each other before they even get to the. Not saying that these guys won't put on a great match together, because we know they will, but fuck the promos. Oh my God. They would do extremely well. But yeah, the match between him and Alistair, that set the bar pretty high for the rest of the night. I think that's probably why you didn't like most of the stuff that came after.
Yeah, I really didn't. You know what I mean? Like, you look at the match, and again, it was fundamental basic wrestling where they told a great story, and fucking A, I can't praise this match enough. Like I don't even want to talk about the rest of the shit that we have probably left to talk about at this point. This match was just that goddamn good. And even in the Survivor Series main pay-per-view, I was probably bored throughout the entire night, with the exception of the Usos in the bar match. I thought that fucking stole the whole show.
Bro, the Usos have. Well, we'll get to that. We'll get to that. But yeah, Alistair, as a lot of people have been calling him the new Undertaker, definitely can fill that role in the main roster. He's a force. And we know now what Velveteen is capable of, because him going up against somebody like Alistair, who is a 10-year vet, and Alistair is only about, what, three and a half, something like this. Like, just being able to, dude, the story of just Velveteen trying to be recognized by Black.
Mm-hmm.
is one of the I want to say greatest kind of like, and it's not like a gimmick match because that wasn't on the line, but the recognition that he was seeking to get Black to just say his name was I, I like the having that as like the stakes, but not the actual gimmick of the match. It's not like, the say my name match or whatever the fuck. Like, to me, that reeked of something special.
Mm-hmm.
Because to have him finally say it at the end, it like that got a fucking pop like somebody just came back from injury. Like the pop from the crowd just from Aleister Black saying Velveteen Dream at the end of the fucking thing. Bro. And people and the crowd loved him. The crowd loved Velveteen Dream.
Yeah. I mean, again, I think it just goes without saying that after watching um after just watching NXT, and look, now I'm going to be watching NXT on a weekly basis.
You have to.
I
told you. I've been telling you that like the shit's gotten really, oh god, it's gotten so good. And that's the thing. That's why everybody wants Triple H to run the fucking main roster.
Well, that's because not even that so much. It's because they only have 1 or 2 writers on NXT, and you've got 50 damn writers on Raw and SmackDown.
This is true. Also, they take time to get with the talent and the superstars and things like that and work them through their shit. And they have promo classes, and they get a go at a few entrance themes before they pick one. It's a whole like it's semi-developmental, semi its own thing. Do you know what I'm saying? Because it's not like FCW. You know what I'm saying? This is like NXT seems like a legitimate thing. It honestly seems like its own brand before you even get to SmackDown and Raw. Like, and I feel like a lot of people feel that way about it too. Like, even if you don't get called up, you're still in NXT and you're still a part of, the team, so to speak. You're just a part of your own thing. And given what happens to a lot of these NXT hopefuls that get called up, being lost in the shuffle, for a lot of reasons, I wouldn't mind staying.
I would say this. I think during a Survivor Series, they should do Raw versus SmackDown versus NXT.
Yeah. With Survivor Series rules, it would make fucking sense. Because, dude, NXT is legitimately its own brand.
And you know what, though? And this is why the Survivor Series matches don't... It's stupid, because every year they make Raw the dominant brand and they continue to, shit on SmackDown. I personally think Survivor Series needs to have a stake where whichever brand has the most wins, they get to choose. They get the 30th spot in the Royal Rumble. There needs to be a stake outside of either dominancy.
Yeah, either they get to pick that spot, or they get a run of the roster for like 2 draws, and they could just trade. You know what I'm saying? Like, they can just basically trade 2 superstars for whoever the fuck they want. Like that as an actual stake for the final Survivor Series match. Well, not the final, but like the final score makes fucking sense. Because just saying that Raw won or SmackDown won, which SmackDown hasn't won, but just saying that Raw won doesn't actually mean anything. Because there's no real bragging rights, because after that, there's no more Raw versus SmackDown. Like, it doesn't mean anything. Because when they did that whole after the draft, and then like a couple of months after, they did the Superstar Shakeup, like that's how we got the Miz back on fucking Raw. That's how we got, Dean Ambrose back on Raw and was able to reform the Shield. Like it made like those things made a difference. That's how we got New Day on fucking SmackDown, and them versus the Usos tearing it up on the fucking tag team division for a number of months, and then culminating at that fucking Hell in a Cell where that was the only good match on the entire card. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like fucking stakes, dude. It needs stakes. Like all of these things have to have some sort of like end game. But I think they're not going to put fucking NXT in the next Survivor Series because I think that was the whole reason why they decided to bring back War Games. So whenever they have a Survivor Series, they'll have a War Games takeover in the same weekend
Mm-hmm.
because War Games plays out a bit like Survivor Series, except there's no like eliminations. But if they have like different squads next year, which they obviously will, it could play out way differently. I
Yeah.
don't know. I
Um,
just think, but we can move on to Survivor Series now.
I think I said all that I wanted to say about Survivor Series. So if there's anything you want to talk about, you're more than welcome.
I want to talk about the injustice that is Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn on a pre-show for a pay-per-view. That's what I want to talk about first and foremost. I don't believe that just because you have them not on the main card, that this is something that should be actually going on. Even if that was to do like a thing where they were upset that they were on the pre-show and then make them come out at the end and ruin the main event so that it helps Raw win, that's still irrelevant because you could have not had them on the pre-show and still made them do that because they had been belly aching about not being on Team SmackDown from the team was formed. So you didn't have to have them on the pre-show. That did nothing for the story, for the narrative. So, I mean, maybe they thought that putting them on the pre-show would drive that point home, but it didn't really do anything. All it did was make them look like, oh shit, these guys don't care about Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn anymore because they're on a fucking pre-show. It's the same thing that people thought when Sasha Banks was on the last pay-per-view pre-show for Raw, and people were like, what the fuck? Sasha Banks is on the pre-show and she's fighting Alicia Fox? What the fuck is this? People didn't understand. They couldn't comprehend that shit. Because Sasha Banks is a four-time women's champion. Granted, she got a lot of those fucking wins off Charlotte in their little back and forth feud. And she won that title, I want to say 4 times within the span of maybe 3 months. But yeah, she is a four-time women's champion. So what the fuck? Having her on the pre-show, it wasn't that long ago since she was in the title picture. I don't get it, but whatever. Um, for the most part, I want to say New Day versus the Shield was very fun,
Oh,
and
absolutely.
it was a great way to open the pay-per-view. Probably the best way to open the pay-per-view. And again, we still have mark ass fans booing Roman Reigns. I don't get it, but I'm never gonna understand that to this day. I mean, to any day. The guy like, but you see, Roman being back in the Shield is what it took for him to get less booze, for him to actually start getting cheered again. Like they literally ran the gamut of things it would take to make Roman get over as a fucking solo act. They tried putting The Rock in the ring with him, still got booed. They tried having him go up against John Cena, still got booed. They tried a feud with Rusev, still got booed. This is when Rusev was the United States champion, mind you. And people were actually like, okay, well, at least he's not in the Universal title picture anymore, blah, blah, blah. Whatever the
Wait,
fuck.
wait,
Still got
wait.
booed.
Let's pause for a second. Didn't we call this the last time we did a WWE centric podcast where I
No, yeah.
said
That's
we
why
was
I'm
going to
going
get
through.
the...
That's why I'm going through the list.
Okay, go for it. Please continue.
That's why I'm going through the fucking list. They tried that thing where they had him um go up against Seth Rollins when Seth Rollins was still a heel. Didn't work. They did that thing where they had him the whole shenanigans with Triple H. Didn't work. Nothing they did with Roman to try to put him over as a face, as a solo act worked. And the whole time that was going on when they would do interviews and people would ask Triple H, and people would ask Vince McMahon, and people would ask anybody who was anybody in the top brass of the company, what the hell is going on with Roman Reigns? Why is he not a heel? Like, I thought you were booking him as a heel. And they were like, well, a heel is somebody who gets booze, right? So obviously he's a heel and it's working. No, He's not getting booed because he's a heel. You know exactly why Marks are booing it. So don't give us that bullshit. We said it before. The only way for Roman to get back over is for him to be in the Shield again. Even the feud with him and Braun Strowman didn't give him fucking cheers. And him and Braun Strowman were basically killing each other for fucking 4 months straight. It did nothing. All it did was make Braun Strowman a face. That's what happened. Because Braun would kill Roman and because Marks hate Roman so much, Braun fucking destroying Roman made Braun a face automatically. And they weren't trying to book Braun as a face for shit. And look what happened. It's like you don't like they say they know their audience, but clearly they fucking don't. But yeah, we were right. More importantly, you were right. You said it, and it came true. But it's not like nobody knew that. You know what I mean? Obviously, a lot of people knew that the Shield would come back sooner or later. But as far as like getting Roman over, we knew it was gonna take that. And we were fucking right.
You know, I'd like to pat myself on the back as I've been right about many of things in my day. But no, I think
for my money, I would like to be right about the lottery numbers.
I think also, like we said, the New Day match was great. The Usos and the Bar match, my God, I mean, the Usos have been just fucking wrecking house this past year.
I hope they never put face paint on again.
Thank you.
I hope they never go back to their Samoan Polynesian roots.
But
not to say that that's a bad thing, their roots, I mean, but Usos went trap. Forget about it.
Because now they're being, and this is the thing, they're being
themselves, and it's working.
I don't understand why WWE doesn't get that. You know what I mean? Like, okay, so anyway, they did great. Okay. This is going to probably surprise you, and this is a testament to this guy. Everyone who watches WWE knows, and any wrestler that's ever worked with this guy knows, Brock Lesnar is probably one of the most difficult people to work with in the ring, and AJ Styles made him look freaking great.
Amazing.
That guy is literally the workhorse of the WWE.
Yeah, forget just SmackDown, the entire fucking company.
Completely
next to people like The Miz and Roman, come on. AJ Styles is fucking top billing out here. He can make anybody look, no pun intended, phenomenal.
Yeah. Hey. I think that he and look, it's kind of hard to make a big guy like Brock Lesnar look great, but he made Brock look like a 5-star wrestler.
Like $1 million fucking bucks. Like $1 million bucks. AJ Styles, Paul Heyman said it himself. He is this era's like HBK, Bret Hart, all of those fuckers, but better. Because he can do more than what they can do at this stage of his career. And it's just like, dude, and there was so many spots that were awesome in that match.
I think what they need to do is keep the belt on him and let Shinsuke win the Rumble.
Yeah, dude. Shinsuke versus AJ Styles at WrestleMania is the fucking match.
That's money.
SmackDown match.
That's money.
That's the fuck. Yes. Fuck all that. You know, trying to push. Like, I'm sorry, Jinder Mahal was great, but his title run did like he is. Not to say he's a mid-carder, but bro, the title run that they gave him was, I think it was at the wrong time. But it was only
to Saturday morning cartoon villain.
Yeah, but it was only because of the extension of the network in India. It was to push WWE in India.
Yeah,
because they opened up markets over there. That's what it was. Like, it sucks to say that, but that's the main reason why he got that title.
And needless to say, I'm glad the belt was on a brown guy.
Yeah, I mean, that goes without saying. Like, to have that opportunity to even be given it, regardless of why you're getting it, to have it and to actually run with it and do the best you can, that's all anybody could ask
But he
for
held
that
it for
fucking opportunity.
6 months, though.
Yeah, he held it for 6 months. That's longer than I ever thought he'd have it because I didn't think he'd have it for one.
Exactly. I thought he was gonna hold it the pay per view and then get rid of it on SmackDown.
Yeah, I thought that was gonna be a complete flip. I did not know he was gonna go into a 6 month title reign, much less have the title at all.
But you know what? His reign literally went over in the blink of an eye because I didn't think he had it that long until I was listening to a wrestling podcast and they're like, "Yeah, his title reign lasted 6 months," and I was like,
Yeah,
"Holy shit, it did!"
yeah, bro. These things happen in the blink of an eye, and before you know it, it's over. But yeah, that the spot where AJ was doing the calf crusher on Brock, and it legitimately looked like Brock was gonna tap.
Brock was selling. I've never seen Brock sell
I've
like this
never seen
before.
Brock sell like that before. Obviously, never in a fucking match with him and Goldberg because
Oh well.
like Goldberg can't go longer than 2 fucking minutes. Like I don't know how the hell he's fucking his wife because god damn it.
Wow. Um yeah, I mean, just all the way around. I wouldn't say it's a 5-star match. I'd give it like a 4, maybe a 3.5.
No, yeah, it was like AJ made Brock look. AJ made Brock look like a wrestler
Yes. That part.
because
That
Brock
part
does
there.
because Brock never looks like a wrestler when he's in that fucking ring. He looks like a brawler or a shoot fighter.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
This guy AJ Styles, the phenomenal one, made Brock Lesnar look like a goddamn wrestler. Something Kurt Angle couldn't do. Let that fucking sink in. Kurt Angle, an Olympic gold medalist winner, couldn't make fucking Brock Lesnar look like a wrestler. AJ Styles did that shit. Suck your mama's dick.
Well, I don't know if you want to talk about the main event because I was bored throughout it. I have nothing to say.
I don't really want to talk about the main event as far as like Triple H really loves his dick because boy oh boy did he ever pull it out and show everyone and then drag it across the foreheads of everyone watching at home and everyone in that fucking stadium because god damn it, like there was no reason for that. That could have been done a completely different way, but whatever. It's Triple H's company now. Eventually, it's just going to be him doing whatever the fuck he wants. And I get it. He came back to the ring in a couple of like during the European tour and in a bunch of dark matches and house shows. And when the thing, because honestly, I knew some fuckery was going on when they put Jason Jordan on that team. I honestly thought that some well-known superstar, some legend was going to come back and be on that, but I didn't think it was going to be Triple H. I honestly didn't think it was going to be Triple H. And then for a hot second, I did think that they were going to keep Jason Jordan on Team Raw because Bobby Roode was on the SmackDown team, and it made no sense for him to be on that shit. They could have that was a spot for Kevin Owens. Bobby Roode's spot was Kevin Owens' spot. I'm letting that be known right now. Because Randy Orton, Shinsuke Nakamura, John Cena, Shane McMahon, and Bobby Roode, nothing against Bobby Roode, mind you. I think Bobby Roode is great, but Bobby Roode is not Survivor Series. You know what I'm saying? Like, that was a spot for Kevin Owens. At the very least, Sami Zayn. Like, come on, dude. But when Bobby Roode was announced as Team SmackDown, I was like, oh, I guess Jason Jordan is a reality. But then Triple H came back and I was like, oh shit. Triple H joined Team Raw so he could fight himself. A younger Canadian version of himself. In Bobby Roode.
If you looked at how Raw was stacked up against SmackDown, that main event, you look at Raw and you're like, man, that's a team. And then you look over to SmackDown, you're like, what the hell's this?
Loosely thrown together. But you know when I definitely knew that some fuckery was going down? When John Cena got eliminated before last or second to last. There is no way John Cena, of all people, is not the last man standing in anything Survivor Series related. How that came to be, meant that some shenanigans were gonna go down. And when that happened, I was like, ooh, I can't wait to see what happens. Because John Cena, first of all, John Cena didn't even go full Team SmackDown. He wore his own goddamn shirt.
Yeah.
Everybody else is wrestling literally in the shirt of their goddamn brand. This motherfucker, nope. Came down, he refused to be a Crip. Came down repping Grove Street in his fucking green hustle, loyalty, and respect bullshit merch. So he was like, all right, well, I'm John Cena. I can do whatever I want. That's basically how that turned out. But
Basically.
yeah, when Shinsuke got eliminated quickly, and then like Team SmackDown started getting whittled down to like damn near nobody, and then Randy Orton ended up getting. I was like, okay, well, this is. I was like, well, I was like, either something really fucking stupid is gonna happen and Raw wins, or something happens within like I don't know some sort of run in, and SmackDown pulls it out at the last minute. But as we all know, that didn't happen because Kurt Angle had Shane McMahon dead to rights, and then Triple H grabbed him, and I don't know if he botched the pedigree or Angle botched the pedigree. I'm not sure. I have to go back and watch that, but I think Angle just took it bad because then Triple H did the double swerve and hit Shane with the pedigree, and Shane took it perfectly fine. And then that's how they ended up winning. And then Triple H fucking, much to the dismay of the crowd, mind you, because the crowd was hella confused, had no idea what was going on. And neither did Braun, apparently. And Braun was not happy with that, as well as all the constant hand raising Triple H was doing.
Yeah.
He was not a fan of that shit. And then Braun basically choked the shit out of him on the fucking the second turnbuckle. And then Triple H jumped up, tried to attack Braun as he was walking away. Tried to put Braun in the pedigree of all people.
Yeah, that didn't work.
And got lifted up and running power slam. And that's how Survivor Series ended. I don't even want to talk about the women's thing. The only thing that was
that's
good,
why I didn't bring it up.
The only really good thing about that was watching Asuka destroy people.
But you knew that was going to happen.
I knew that was going to happen, but I didn't know who she was going to destroy. But watching her kick the fucking makeup off Carmella's face is something that will live in my memory until they bury me. Because as much as I'm not like a Carmella fan and I don't champion her in-ring skills at all, she has a pretty decent gimmick for somebody who has, I want to say, a little less than average in-ring skills. Mm-hmm. But for her to take the kick that she took from Asuka and live to see another day is a testament to Carmella as an in-ring performer. That I will give her, because she took that shit full on. And Asuka ain't no joke.
No, she's not.
No. But the Michael Cole screaming relatives or cousins or whatever he screamed when Nia Jax and Tamina were facing off is hella inaccurate. I mean, yeah, everybody thinks all the Samoans are related to each other, but they're not. So let's just stop saying that. I mean, they do it like how, you know, a lot of black people and Hispanic people do, you know, cousins and shit like that. Like we just call everybody as a cousin or sis or brother and all that kind of shit. Like that sort of thing.
Or daughter. Yeah.
Come on out. Come on out.
Clearly this is an inside joke, ladies and gentlemen.
No, yeah, but that face off between Tamina and Nia Jax got the hugest pop, and that is definitely, now you know what the fans want to see. They were headbutting each other like the fucking bushwhackers. They were giving it fucking. It was a house match between two women. And that's how you know that WWE got to get off their fucking high horse with this body shaming shit and give Nia Jax a go at that title and give Tamina a go at that title, because there's no earthly way you can have women like that on their respective brands and they're not at least in the title picture. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, that shit to me is just like, Everyone in comparison to sans Asuka, obviously, because we've seen Asuka take Nia Jax before. Everybody aside from Asuka, Nia Jax can beat easily. And you booked her as a monster when you called her up to fucking Raw, and now you're doing nothing with her. She wasn't even at Raw yesterday, this past Monday. And it's the Raw after a pay-per-view. Come on.
Yeah.
And she performed extremely well. And then to have her get eliminated by ring out, like, you can't count out a Nia Jax. You have to make it look like they actually took her down and were able to subdue the monster and get it down for the 1, 2, 3. If you are making it so that you're protecting her monster gimmick so that she can only lose via count out, you're actually hurting her more than you think you are. You're hurting her more than helping her. Because she could have gotten back in the ring. That, like, to make it look like she couldn't have gotten back in the ring was retarded. I'm sorry. But yeah, that was the only notable thing for me in that. And the Alexa Bliss Charlotte match, I already knew how that was going to turn out, but it was fun for about 3 minutes, and then I got bored of it, which is unheard of with me because I love both of them. I think Charlotte is like second to none in that ring as far as raw talent is concerned, and everything about Alexa Bliss I love, and she just keeps getting better and better in the ring. She's not the best, but for what she has, and she works the crowd, she works the camera, she works the shit out of her gimmick, and she makes sure she's heard when she's doing spots that are like, to the main cam, and when she's doing shit on the outside of the ring, like, she knows how to work the fucking cameras.
Mm-hmm.
She's basically what Vince and them want. She's a sports entertainer through and through, especially for the entertainer part. And she's got natural, like, fucking aerial ability. She used to be a goddamn cheerleader. That fucking twisted bliss she does in midair. You think you can fucking torque your body in midair when hell no. That is a special talent for a specific person, and that person is Alexa Bliss. But yeah, other than that, the pay per view kind of fell flat.
Yeah, yeah. As far as Monday Night Raw is concerned, I literally have no talking points for it outside of what we talked about earlier with The Miz and Roman Reigns. I think having match of the night, clearly that wasn't that difficult to do. I think what was very happy to me was Paige coming back. And
I was happy about that too. It's good to see Paige back. It's good to see her seemingly in good spirits. I hope actually. Well, but now that she's back, does the landscape change again?
I want the landscape to change because I want her. She needs to run with that belt because I think she would. Oh, her and Asuka at Mania, just fucking take my money now.
That's what I'm talking about. Because legitimately, if somebody other than Nia Jax is going to contest Asuka, it has to be a Paige. It has to be Paige. Because Paige is the only other person on that roster that can take that fucking type of brutality. Because she dishes it out too. That rampage move she does, that finisher that she has outside of that, I forget what her submission move is called, but yeah, her and Asuka could make some fucking money together.
They'd fucking tear New Orleans down. The other two chicks I could give a rat's ass about.
See, that's what I want to talk about. That's my big note for Raw.
Go for
other
it.
than the Roman Reigns Miz match, which is just a fucking free pay-per-view match. Here's the thing about Mandy Rose and Sonia De La Hoya, I guess her name is what I'll call her. I don't remember her last name. Yeah, for Mandy and Sonia, welcome to the shuffle because you're gonna get lost in it. The thing about Paige coming up with those two, I don't know why those two were chosen outside of the iconic duo. Which, if you think about it, just open up your minds for 2 seconds. Paige coming back to the main roster and coming back to Raw with Peyton Royce and Billie Kay instead of Mandy Rose and Sonya. Think about that for a second. Think about what that would look like when they all came down the ring together. Or when Peyton Royce and Billie Kay snuck into the ring like those two did. Think about what that would fucking have looked like. They would have looked like a female Shield. And it would have looked fucking amazing. First of all three of them have dark black hair. Well, Peyton Royce has some kind of like brown, weird colorish thing in there. But they're all dark-haired women. They would have looked amazing together coming down that ring, or the way Sonya and Mandy slunk in. It would have been a great look. Plus, both of them are way more polished than Mandy and Sonya. Mandy doesn't really have a gimmick, and Sonya's kind of UFC MMA thing, like, come on. Honestly, like, I don't understand why these two green ass workers have been called up to the main roster. It's another Dana Brooke mistake. I don't understand why they did that. This is another mistake call up. Another mistake call up was the Vaudevillians. Another mistake call up was American Alpha, which was way too early. The Revival are both injured, so like, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's just another one of these things where it's like, come on, Tyler Breeze. Look what happened to Tyler Breeze before he found his niche hanging out with Fandango and doing Breezango. I mean, he was basically floating, doing nothing for a long time. Sami Zayn wasn't doing anything for a while. It like, you can't just keep calling these motherfuckers up and have, because they literally get lost in the shuffle. Like, it is actually more that, like, the percentage of you being lost in the shuffle is higher than you actually becoming a noteworthy superstar now. If you're not already an established talent outside of the WWE before coming into NXT, like Adam Cole won't get lost in the shuffle. Do you know what I'm saying? Drew McIntyre won't get lost in the shuffle. People like that won't get lost in the shuffle because they already have made names for themselves outside of the WWE and are well known before they came in to developmental. So when they get called up, it's a clear road ahead. You know, it's the same thing for Finn Balor, Shinsuke, Kevin Owens, like people like that. When they came through the development, it's just that's how it worked for them. You know what I mean? Even Bobby Roode for a second looked like he was going to get lost in the shuffle doing that fucking feud with Ziggler, but maybe his trajectory has changed in Survivor Series. He's gone toe to toe with Triple H now. He has to have some push.
Absolutely.
So it's just like that whole like them two coming up with Paige, to me, it didn't sit well with me at all. That was a spot for those two. I even tweeted them both today. I said it should have been you two. And for some odd reason, I'm weirdly attracted to Peyton Royce. I don't know what it is.
Okay.
I don't know if it's the Australian accent or the long legs. I really don't know what it is. But she got a big forehead, so you know the Nana is ill. But I think the two of them could have been amazing together on the main roster. I mean, if they come up together, which they probably will, it's most likely going to be a SmackDown. But they should have come up with Paige. They should have definitely come up with Paige. Because, all right, who's left in the... Okay, no, wait. They signed a bunch of those women from the Mae Young Classic. So, okay. No, it's fine. The NXT landscape for the title picture is fine. They still have... Nikki Cross is still down there. You know, Kairi Sane is still down there. They signed that Shayna Glazer from the UFC Four Horsewomen. Who else? I think like two other women from the Mae Young Classic, and that Bianca Belair girl. She is something, boy.
I think what they're gonna do at the Rumble is they're gonna have a female Royal Rumble.
They need to, and they need to have the NXT women in it. They need to have the NXT women in that.
I think that's what. If I were them, I'd kick the show off with it.
Nah, that's not cool.
No, because here's why I say that though, because
You mean on the kickoff show or the first match of the actual
the first
main
match
card?
of the actual main card.
Oh, okay, okay. No, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, that would be a decent opener. That would be a good opener.
Because you have like 15 women who do a Royal Rumble, and then the main event would be the Royal Rumble match because there's 30 male superstars.
Yeah, but see, that's why I think it's imperative that they put NXT women in it because once you do that, you could have an even 30 women, and then nobody fucking knows what could happen because anybody could win that shit, and then they could go after whatever fucking title they want. They could go after the red or the blue women's title. I think shit like that, or they could go after the NXT title. It doesn't fucking matter. They have to shake things up and change these stakes for these matches, man. They can't just have things be the same old fucking dog and pony show. It's the same old song and dance every year. Every maybe 5-10 years, they change the landscape of how the stakes are raised for a lot of these matches. But for the most part, it's been the same old fucking show.
I completely agree. As far as wrestling is, I think I'm done with wrestling. I think I've talked enough wrestling to talk wrestling for a month, at least until the Rumble time comes. At which point, I would like to get Roger Howard on here.
Okay.
Because look, we've been.
Yeah, I haven't spoken to him in a long ass time.
Yeah, I talked to him today.
Oh, okay.
He's working at the moment. I'm like, oh, you should come on the show, and he's like, oh, I can't. I'm going to be working. And he's like, I know I haven't been on forever. I'm like, yeah, we'll change that.
But you do know Royal Rumble time. You know what else is around that time? Wrestle Kingdom.
Oh yes,
Chris
I need you to
versus
provide me a link.
Kenny Omega.
That's all I know. Bro, I need a live.
Bro,
link.
I don't care what day it is. I'm taking off work. I don't care what the fuck is going on that day.
I need a live link from you. I don't want anything. Wait, I do have to say this.
What that? Listeners,
you see?
You have no idea the dramatic fucking event that I just witnessed with that gasp that Phoenix just did. This was some Julie Andrews Sound of Music fucking. This was some Barbra Streisand shit. Yeah, this was some real fucking. Is it Grammy? No, Oscar. This was some Oscar.
But you have to understand why I did it though. So rumors are pointing at King Ricochet coming to WWE at the Royal Rumble.
Bro, don't hype yourself up for that. Don't do it. Don't hype yourself up.
Listen.
I mean, trust me, a dude like that, given what he can do, has a clear trajectory for stardom if he comes to the WWE. They most likely won't even put him in developmental. They'll do what they did with AJ Styles.
Listen, let me tell you something. If King Ricochet comes to WWE, I don't know what I would do with myself. Because
I don't want to hear what you would do with yourself.
Well, that part too. Fuego take. I would probably go to every single pay-per-view that he's at. I would be that one like the little Bailey kid. I would be the Ricochet kid or Ricochet.
What is her name? Izzy?
I don't know, but I met her at Extreme Rules, and she's a little annoying little twat. Like when Alexa Bliss beat Bailey, this girl was literally crying in the audience, and I'm like, yes! I was like, damn, the in her face, like, yes, fucking take that, you little shit. But they have to be working with WWE because some of the people from WWE gave her Bailey section signs, hugger sections, whatever, for her to hand out to the crowd. So it was kind of like, okay,
yeah, because it became its own institution, and Bailey was a part of it. And yeah, that's a whole thing. It's a whole thing. It's like when a superstar's family members are at ringside and then they get involved in the match and shit. It's all a work.
So
Not saying that little girl is not like a legitimate Bailey fan, but it's mostly a work at this point.
so that concludes, I think, our wrestling. Good Lord Almighty, that's conclude our wrestling talk, I believe. Um, quick tangent. Well, it's not a tangent. Big announcement. We haven't announced this publicly yet. Do you want to take the honors, or?
Oh, do you not want to wait for Drew to be on to make this announcement?
Well, it's kind of up now.
Oh, well, I guess, yeah, sure. I'll do it. We're on Spotify now.
All of that just to say that, yeah, as Chris said, the Phoenix Podcast is now officially a part of the Spotify platform. Shout outs to Spotify and
yes, definitely, because that is my preferred choice of music streaming service. I love Spotify.
So anyone who loves Spotify, you can now pick us up over there. We're still on all of your streaming services. It's Apple, Google Play, Stitcher, TuneIn. What app do I use? Hold on. I use something on iOS called Casts. I think it's Pocket Cast or Casts. It's a great app. I love it. But we're on the Spotify. Again, shout out to Spotify. Thank you so much for bringing us aboard the platform, and Rob over at
Libsyn
for helping to make that a reality. That was a dream, literally, for so long, and then it came through. So, shout outs to everybody that had a hand in having this happen. Tristan,
getting us on Spotify.
Shout out to Tristan as well, because he made me double check just to make sure all the stuff was correct, and then it really wasn't correct. So then we resubmitted and it got through. So,
nice.
All the pork buns that are here. And next week we will have a full-on Gambit. No pun intended. A full-on Gambit.
Yeah, ain't gonna be no motherfucking Gambit in this goddamn show.
No. Of Marvel's The Punisher on Netflix.
The X-Men are banned from everything.
Yeah. And then we're going to go over the Justice League.
Reluctantly.
And if you've paid attention to any of my social medias, you already know what I think of this film, but I'm not going to go crazy at the moment. We'll wait till next week's episode and we'll talk about it, and we'll reconvene.
I haven't been too vocal about it on the medias. I did post a weird video of some sort of femdom porn parody of Superman getting kicked in the nuts.
Oh.
The night I saw Justice League with the missus, but yeah. It's just a thing. Just a thing from my own personal Instagram. It's got nothing to do with the thoughts and feelings of the Phoenix Podcast. They don't reflect them. But you'll hear everything I got to say about it next week, because if no, I'm not. I can't even get into it now because the disappointment is dripping off me. It's almost like we're doing the show now.
Yeah, but, so let's hold on.
Yeah, you kids will wait till next week. We'll have a full detailed thing of Hujima one of them.
I'm sending a link to a podcast that is funny as all fuck, so I think you would love it. But either way, I'm great going into some details that we need to talk off the air. Chris, take us out.
Yeah, don't show him behind the curtain.
Take us out.
Bye.
Are you going to say bye? Oh, there we go.